We just got a new update on Tuesday for Fortnite, and now that we've had a few days to play with it, these are my thoughts on how it's affected the meta. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being unchanged and 10 being completely different, I would say we got about a 4. The absolute biggest changes are the sniper rifle and riot shield nerfs, as well as the unfortunate movement nerf. So, as most of you know by now, snipers were nerfed in 3 ways. Bullet speed was reduced by 8%, bullet drop was increased by 40%, and the guaranteed spawn in medallion vaults was removed. Honestly, these 3 things were on my wish list, and I can't believe we got them in such a large degree. The 40% bullet drop increase is the truly noticeable one. However, I have been strafing left and right and been getting hit less from distance, so I know the 8% drop in bullet speed also helps a lot once you get past that like 50 to 100 meter mark. My overall biggest complaint about the snipers were in fact how common they were. I played a lot of games in the past where you can choose a sniper rifle like in Call of Duty or Battlefield. It's always outclassed by the ARs and feels like a high skill weapon. In games like Halo, there's only 1 or 2 per map at most, and they have 8 bullets total, so you can't spam it. In Apex, the sniper has a chance to spawn, and that's only during the end game through a care package that you can get killed for trying to acquire. I honestly wouldn't even mind if they nerfed them again, as I still feel snipers are incredibly powerful. A few other ideas that were on my list were to reduce the magazine size from 3 to 2, and then make the drum mag bring it back up to 3. The standard mag being 3 and the drum mag being 5 is actually kind of absurd when it comes to a one-hit headshot weapon. I don't know if I've ever played with any gun in any game, maybe ever, that can one shot to the head that also has 5 shots in the clip. It could have also added D-scope. So that's when if you are shot while you're scoped in, you lose it and you have to scope in again. This to me would have been a very fair nerf, as it's very against the spirit of snipers to me to be absolutely locked in on someone while getting shot at entirely and not losing any accuracy whatsoever. Some games like Battlefield have effects where if you're being shot at just around you, your accuracy decreases. Other games like Call of Duty used to, I haven't really played them in years, have where if you want to snipe, you'd have to hold the right stick to kind of hold your breath to steady your shot. Halo always had D-scope back in the day, not only on the sniper rifle, but on the battle rifle and DMRs as well. So to me, that would have been a very fair addition because it's still very busted in its current form. A more simple nerf would have just been to remove the ability to put the angled foregrip on the sniper rifle in the way that you can't put every attachment on every gun. While it makes sense thematically, it's just way too powerful being able to quickscope people at the speed that you currently can, especially in close range. The Reaper sniper rifle is still the best gun in the game from 5 to 100 meters. It's just now past 100 meters, it's not quite as dominant as it once was. The Frenzy Auto is obviously the best gun at close range, in case anyone's curious why I started at 5 meters out. Honestly, I still think that snipers spawn too frequently. There are a lot of those gun cases on the map that are underground locations or vaults. People who are good at clearing those POIs and want snipers are still getting them every game, and those are the people who you really need to worry about. I always thought snipers should be a rare weapon in a game if they are going to be as powerful as they currently are, and I like a powerful sniper in game. I think it is fun to have a power weapon that everyone needs to fear, but the thing that makes those weapons fun is they're typically rare as a mythic would be, usually 1 or 2 per game at most. But we still have 15 plus snipers spawning on the map every game, and you can still carry 50 bullets, and they are still very spammable, just not as much as before at long distances. Pre-patch, the sniper meta was absolutely stupid. They were the most common, most dominant weapon on the map, and when you don't have a lot of cover in most of these mid to end game situations, it just really didn't make a lot of sense to me. So thank you, Epic, for the changes. It really does make the game feel more fun to play. I just think it could get tweaked a little bit more. Thank you, Epic, again for nerfing the riot shield. It also took a very big hit, and I don't have exact numbers on this one, but trust me when I tell you that blasting the shield itself now to stun the opponent has gotten much easier. I was never able to actually break someone's stance with just my auto frenzy shotgun before, and that never happened once pre-patch. It's now happened at least once. I'm sorry, I don't have footage for it because it just happened once and it was hard to find the clip. That was the main thing that I felt was cheap about the shield. If someone crouches to hide their feet, you should be able to shoot the shield itself and gain an advantage, and now that's exactly how it works. I would say the value of the extended mag attachment has actually gone up against the riot shield now, since it's possible to break the shield with the first half of a clip and finish them off with the second half. The stun still does only last about a second or so, meaning you really need to make that small window count when you do get it. Alright, now about that movement thing. Really not a huge fan of the overall speed being reduced. I want to say it was something like 20% max speed reduction, but don't quote me on that. You can quote me on this. It was a 1 second increase on our stamina fully recharging from empty, which to me, both of these things just feel unnecessary. I don't know how to word it. I feel like when they tweak the bullet speed of some guns, like the sniper rifle, they feel the need to tweak the movement as well, to almost like keep them balanced in a way where I think you could just move the gun stats in a direction that make that feel balanced, and you don't need to keep changing the speed. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't work with me. I think that's very clunky, and getting people used to one thing and then changing it several times within a particular season, I think I've heard that it's been changed 3 times since Chapter 5 has dropped. It's just not necessary, and I honestly wouldn't mind if they made it a little faster again. So we can change it again, but can we make it a little faster again, y'all? Please make it faster. I'm not sure why they did it. Maybe they tried to make the sniper feel better. Maybe they tried to make the enforcer feel better. Hard to say. But yes, The Enforcer got a buff too. Increased headshot damage from 1.5x to 1.65x, and the bullet damage went up by 1 per rarity as well, I believe. In the end, it's really a very mediocre change. I don't think it makes the biggest difference. It went from being a bad gun to an okay weapon if you can't find anything else. Early game, I found a few blue ones with the 1.3x holo sight on it, and I've used it until I can find a striker later game. At the end of the day, I will always take a striker over any other ranged weapon we have right now. Just has such a high rate of fire, damage output is crazy, and if you put a laser underbarrel attachment on it, you can also spam the hip fire too with some decent accuracy. Okay, let's talk about the invisible elephant in the room. A lot of people have jumped in my live chats lately on our streams. Join our streams. We stream most days, not every day, but most days, so definitely join our Discord and join and keep the notification bell turned on to know when we do go live. People have been jumping in the chat in the comments of our most recent popular video, and they've been kind of calling me the EMP guy, which is fine because a lot of people don't use EMPs. I'll be the EMP guy. But let me tell you my thoughts on the new EMP item. I definitely tried it, tried to make it work, and I used it as much as I could. However, ultimately, it's just not as good as the regular EMP grenades themselves. It has its pros for sure, which are, you can push people inside buildings easier since you are invisible and you don't have to worry about EMPing yourself. It recharges. You can use it once every 30 seconds. You can use the invisibility to rotate when in the open for non-offensive situations, just for some extra cover. You can still use it to EMP vending machines, which is actually a huge pro coupled with its reusability. But the list of cons is longer and more impactful, unfortunately. You only get to hit the opponent with 1 EMP blast before you start fighting, and it only does 70 damage compared to 80 of the grenades. So when you do engage an opponent, you better be in a good position because they will have, on average, 80 more health than with the traditional EMP setup that we have been doing. There is a very loud noise when you activate the cloak effect. Anyone within 15 meters will hear you, making the element of surprise much less effective. If I know where someone is, say like in a vault, I will try to use the cloak about as far away as possible. So you have 15 seconds before you become very visible again, and then about 2 or 3 more seconds before the EMP would go off naturally. You can of course detonate it anytime on your own. You really are also far from invisible. I've beamed people who are cloaked pretty easily just because they turned on the cloak at a bad time and I was looking for it. Now if I wasn't looking for it, I could definitely see it sneaking up on me, especially if it was in like my peripheral or if I wasn't looking, you know, right and they came up on my left, you know, things like that. I could see myself getting stuck up on, but if you know to look for it, it can be very obvious, especially if you've played games before where you've had to shoot invisible players who've had mechanics like this. There is a delay between the EMP blast and when you can actually fire your weapon. It's about 1 second from what I can tell, and that's honestly a lot when you're right next to your opponent. And leading into that is the biggest fundamental flaw of the EMP cloak compared to the grenades, and that is that you need to put your body at risk to make this play. You are the blast. So it almost feels like a kamikaze play in a way where you somehow still come out alive, but in most instances when I used this successfully, I had much lower HP left over than if I had just used the standard shockwave up, EMP down, and finish with my shotgun or air like I typically do. So despite the rare benefit that the cloak can offer, the traditional EMP grenades will still be the go-to in my inventory. I have, however, been theorizing a bit since my latest video, and I have been dropping the Flowberry heal item more often to go with a grapple blade instead, and I may consider going double EMP and using both the grenades and the stealth camo as well for a few games, just to see how it works. I do think using the camo itself periodically as a rotation tool does have its purposes. Also, something I didn't mention in the benefit section of the cloak is that if you want to hold medallions, the invisibility really comes in clutch as it helps when you begin an engagement with an opponent who otherwise could potentially know exactly where you are depending on how many medallions you're holding. It's not much, but it's better than full-on attacking, giving your enemy complete information of the situation. So how has the meta changed since our last video discussing it? Honestly, you're just going to see less snipers throughout the game, but not 0, but less overall. I would say maybe half as many, just tossing a number out there. Riot shields are easier to kill, which is great. Few random things to toss in. People are using NPCs a lot right now. Little meta trick is to just kill them when you come across them if you don't want to hire them for yourself, if you don't want to go up against them later on. This can be especially helpful for maybe ones like the Clinger Grenade NPCs who tend to kind of grief my games whether they're on my team or not. They will pickaxe my cover, and I don't really like to hire them because of that, but they're very dangerous if you have to go against one. Clingers are weird. They're one of the most volatile items in the game that they either do nothing or can absolutely shred someone, especially if you're inside a building when you get one thrown at you. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been dropping my heals for other items recently, grapple blade mainly, but I may try out that double EMP strategy and let you all know how it plays. The reason I think dropping heals is possible this season is the exact reason I think Flowberries and Fizz are good healing items, in that they only can heal you for 100 or less, and that's because so many people are carrying heals. There's so many mending machines, berries grow all over the map, along with slurp and slap barrels being found in so many different POIs and kind of like mini POIs. I just think that the current moment heals are at an all-time high, and that is assuming you ignore medallions altogether. If you're holding even one, then you're always just one big pot away from full health. I know this is a risky loadout and probably not going to win you many high-ranked games, but it's definitely one of the most fun ways to play, and I signed on to Fortnite to have fun beyond anything else. Honestly, I was really hoping we got augments in the next update, as I feel like those will truly be the first big shakeup of Chapter 5, where right now it just feels like a series of small tweaks. With this last update providing 4 or 5 of those small tweaks at once, I'm still loving the game, loving the season, and really excited to see what Fortnite has around the corner. If you got this far, please comment how you feel about this latest update. Share with a friend, as we are almost at 1K subs, and that is our next big goal on the channel. And consider joining our Discord so you can always be informed when we go live, meet new people, or post clips of your own. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching, love you all as always, and we'll see you on the next one.